Two of my top recommended gaming laptops for graphic designers and video editors go head to head. The Acer Predator Helios 300 versus the HP Omen 15. Which one will win the round? Coming at you right now. If you're new to the channel, my name is Benji Kaiser, and this is where you're gonna find the best tech and tools for graphic designers and creative professionals. So if that sounds like your kind of place, consider subscribing and ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of the future videos. Today we are talking about the Predator Helios 300 and the HP Omen. These are two fantastic laptops. They are well matched in performance, build, and styling. So I'm super stoked about this opportunity to get my hands on the Predator Helios in order to compare it with the HP Omen. Let's dive into the usability and form factor first. The Helios 300 weighs in at about 5.1 pounds, and the HP Omen roughly a half a pound heavier at 5.56 pounds. They're both slightly thicker than your average ultrabook like the Dell XPS 15, which in my opinion is pretty impressive for the large vents and performance that is packed into each of these machines. The Helios 300 comes with an aluminum top cover and keyboard deck, whereas the HP Omen comes with a plastic top cover and an aluminum keyboard deck. But I have to say, it is a really good looking machine. It's super tasteful. I'm normally not a huge fan of really designed laptops, but I really like the HP Omen. The screen bezel, bottom cover, and side plates on each laptop are plastic, and even though there is a substantial amount of plastic on each of these laptops, they are very well built, very well put together. Both laptops have strong, firm hinges, but the Helios 300 has a far better hinge configuration. It had less screen flex than the HP Omen, and in my opinion, it looks as if it will handle wear and tear much better. The Helios 300 and the HP Omen both come with webcams, so if you're going to be needing your laptop for video calls, either one is a good choice. If you're curious about the exact specs or pricing of each of these models, you can click the links in the description below. These are affiliate links, so if you do use them, I will get a small commission, but at no extra cost to you. I'm grateful when you use those links, and it's what keeps this channel alive and this helpful content coming your way. Both computers have thin screen bezels, and both screens have a refresh rate of 144 Hz. But the Helios 300 outpaces the HP Omen when it comes to the RGB color gamut. The Helios 300 can reach 76% Adobe RGB, whereas the HP Omen can only reach 60% Adobe RGB. People often ask me what the best color accuracy percentage is, and I usually recommend around 85% Adobe RGB, but when it comes to these laptops, I think it is important to remember that these are powerful laptops for a medium-sized budget, hence the lower RGB gamut. So what I recommend, plus it is what I do every day anyway, is to purchase external monitors that have high Adobe RGB color gamut range. I rarely ever edit on my Dell XPS 15 screen, which is 100% color accurate, because I use dual external monitors at my workstation. So pro tip for you right there. If you want to save money, getting a more medium-sized budget laptop, but then still have the 100% color accuracy, you can end up investing in dual monitors, which makes your editing workflow faster, and it gives you the opportunity to get that 100% color accuracy. Moving on to the keyboard and trackpad. The Predator Helios 300 is the winner for me as far as the keyboard is concerned. I like the keyboard layout, it's comfortable, the keys are soft, and it's quiet. And the trackpad on the Helios 300 is also a clear winner. To be honest, it is the only trackpad I've ever used that gets close to the sensitivity and precision as the MacBook Pro. It is not as good, but it is sure close. You're gonna miss out on a lot of those special Apple Mac OS touch gestures, but as far as the click sensitivity and the responsiveness of the trackpad, it's excellent. All right, I'm putting up the various ports available on each of these models now. So as you notice, they're slightly different, and I always recommend people consider their day-to-day lives as a creator. Because for me, I use external monitors, an SD card slot, USB ports. So these are the ports that are important to me. So you have to consider what is important to you. The battery life on these machines is equally, should I say, unfortunate. When working on video editing, graphic design, or other system-heavy tasks, you'll get around 1.5 to 1 hours and 45 minutes of battery out of the Helios 300, and you'll get roughly 3.5 to 4 hours out of the HP Omen. So if you're one who is on the go quite a lot, then the HP Omen is going to be a better pick for you. However, I still recommend bringing the battery charger along wherever you go. Now, let's get into the performance details. These specs are slightly different, so I will discuss how that alters some of the results and what to expect when purchasing one of these machines spec for spec. The Predator Helios comes with the Intel 9th generation 6-core i7-9750H, 32 gigs of RAM, the GTX 1660 Ti, 256 gigs of solid-state storage, and it has a refresh rate of 144 Hz. The HP Omen has the 8th generation Core i7-8750H, 32 gigs of RAM, the RTX 2070 Max Q from NVIDIA, 512 gigs of solid-state storage, and it also has a refresh rate of 144 Hz. Okay, that is great, but how do these specs stack up in real life? For graphic designers, these specs are spot on, and you will experience a smooth workflow in Photoshop, InDesign, and Illustrator, and other graphic design programs like Sketch or the Affinity Suite. But what about video editing? So I'm going to take a 9-minute 4K clip, put it into Premiere Pro, and then export it out at full 4K YouTube settings. The Helios 300 can do this in 7 minutes and 21 seconds, and the HP Omen can do this in 7 minutes and 26 seconds. Now, if I take that same 4K clip and export it out to 1080p YouTube settings, the Helios 300 can do this in 2 minutes and 52 seconds, and the HP Omen can do this in 3 minutes and 12 seconds. So these tests give you an idea on the performance capabilities within video editing. Both of these laptops can play back the 4K clip at full quality settings in Premiere Pro without any lagginess. This is a huge deal to me, and I know to many other video editors. So yes, it can do that. The playback in the timeline is fantastic. Now, do note that during the export, the HP Omen gets pretty noisy. I was clocking around 65 plus decibels during the 4K export, whereas the Predator Helios 300 was only reaching about 41 decibels throughout the entire 4K export. So if you're concerned with noise, then I would pick the Helios 300. It is much quieter, and it is also good to note that along with being quieter, the Helios 300 runs a lot cooler. When exporting out of Premiere Pro, the temps jumped up to around 80 to 85 degrees Celsius on the HP Omen. It's about 180 degrees Fahrenheit. Whereas in the Helios 300, they stayed around 50 degrees Celsius, which is about 122 degrees Fahrenheit. All right, now there are slight differences in the export times as you saw in the specs and differences from the Helios 300. It has that newer 9th gen i7 processor, but the HP Omen has a slightly better performing RTX 2070 Max Q graphics processing unit. Do note that the newer and better performing processor beats out the more powerful GPU for exporting and playback. So if you're trying to consider which laptop to get a faster processor, not a faster GPU. The faster processor will give you better export times and better playback. Again, if you're curious about the exact pricing and further specs, you can head down into the description below and click one of those links. If you do use that to make a purchase, it will give me a small commission, but at no extra cost to you. And I'm always grateful when you all use those links to make a purchase. So it keeps this helpful content coming your way. My name is Benji Kaiser of BenjiKaiser.com, and I'll see you here on the next episode.